Steelers also make another trade on Tuesday, bringing in cornerback William Jackson III from the Commanders. Jackson signed a 3-year deal with the Commanders in 2021, and it just never really worked out there. $21 million guaranteed, $40.5 million as part of that 3-year deal. But he was expected to be released if Washington couldn't find a trade partner. Now, the Steelers needed a cornerback, considering you saw what A.J. Brown just did to him in week 8. 3 touchdowns, should have had 4, 150 plus yards. And Steelers DBs, how about the week before against the Dolphins, dropping 4 balls that should have been intercepted. And 2 of them were right there, point blank period. At least 2 of those 4 against Tua Tagovailoa should have been intercepted. At least 2 of those should have been intercepted. That's not a hyperbole either. So you're talking about teams scoring touchdown throws, 3 against Philly, 1 against Buffalo, 1 against New England, where Steelers defensive backs had their hands on passes, and then the 4 against Miami. So you're talking about 9 plays that Steelers defensive backs did not make. So that's why you trade for William Jackson. And I could go to, I know he hasn't quite played up to what his contract was worth when he signed with Washington, but 42 forced incompletions, a 77.6 career coverage grade. Ahkello Witherspoon hasn't been what you hoped he would be. Now, again, Witherspoon coming off a hamstring injury, and we say, hey, your first game back, you've got to go up against A.J. Brown. Good luck. You go right from the frying pan right into the fire. And I'm sure, yeah, he's good to go. Yeah, he's ready. Hamstring's still a little bit gimpy. Going up against one of the NFL's best last week. And it was, look, there were times Witherspoon was in decent position, but you got to be able to finish the play. Mike Tomlin even said as such during the post-game news conference on Sunday. But Jackson hasn't suited up for the Commanders since week 5. He's been dealing with the back injury. 4 games played this season, 16 tackles, 2 passes defended, 1 TFL. And you hope he's a little bit better in coverage. I know there's been some stuff saying he hasn't been what the Commanders had hoped. And I'll say this, the Steelers could take a flyer on Jackson. And I wouldn't imagine he'd be in a Steelers uniform beyond this season unless the Steelers decide to renegotiate that contract, because he's making a lot of money right now. But it's a no risk, no reward, low risk, high reward flyer potentially. Because the Steelers are going to need cornerbacks. Honestly, other than Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I'd throw Cam Sutton in this conversation, and Sutton should have several balls caught that he hasn't this season, but it's been a rough season for the Steelers DBs. Certainly, you have to make the adjustment of playing without TJ Watt this season. TJ Watt's been out since week 1. We'll see if TJ Watt plays beyond the bye week. But again, if you're trying to get a better draft pick, and we know what a game wrecker TJ Watt can be for an opposing team's offensive line, I would almost want TJ Watt to sit. I mean, you're not going to make the playoffs anyways. I know you want to be competitive, but again, the DBs have suffered because you can't get to the quarterback as quickly as you normally would be. And I don't care if you're Champ Bailey. I don't care if you're Darrelle Revis, Deion Sanders. You can't guard a receiver for forever. You're only as good as you are up front, and can you get to the quarterback with 4? And the Steelers have struggled to do that in Watt's absence. At times they were better against Jalen Hurts this past week, but was it good enough to win? Absolutely not. Nowhere close. So that's why you bring in William Jackson III. You take a flyer on him. The Steelers will receive a 2025 conditional 7th round pick in the deal, while Washington gets a 2025 conditional 6th round draft pick in return. So they're essentially swapping 7th rounder for a 6th rounder in addition to the Steelers getting Jackson.